The city lights blurred outside the taxi window, each one a painful reminder of a future that had just shattered. 10 minutes ago, Mark, my Mark, had told me he was leaving. Not just leaving, but leaving me for Chloe, my best friend since kindergarten. The words echoed in my head, a cruel, discordant symphony. I'm sorry, Alex, I love Chloe. I stumbled into my apartment, the silence amplifying my despair. How could this happen? Chloe, with her vibrant laugh and infectious optimism, had been my rock through every heartbreak, every triumph. And Mark, my steady, dependable Mark, who had promised me forever. The next few weeks were a haze of tears and anger. Chloe tried to reach out, her texts and calls going unanswered. I couldn't bear to hear her voice, knowing it was now intertwined with his. My friends were divided, some offering awkward condolences, others defending Chloe, saying things happen. One evening, while aimlessly scrolling through old photos, I found a picture of the three of us at a music festival last year. Chloe, perched on Mark's shoulders, laughing as he pointed at something in the distance. A pang of unease shot through me. They looked comfortable, too comfortable. A month later, a wedding invitation arrived. Mark and Chloe. My stomach lurched. The date was set for 2 months from now. A desperate plan began to form in my mind, fueled by a potent cocktail of her and a growing sense of betrayal. I needed answers. I needed to understand. I swallowed my pride and called Sarah, Chloe's cousin, who had always been a gossip, but also surprisingly perceptive. Sarah, I began, my voice trembling, I need to know something. Have Mark and Chloe been seeing each other for long? Sarah hesitated. Alex, I really shouldn't say anything. Please, I pleaded. I deserve to know. She sighed. Okay, but you didn't hear it from me. They've been on and off for over a year, since before he even proposed to you. The world spun. A year before he proposed. The betrayal was deeper, more insidious than I could have imagined. Every loving glance, every tender word from Mark, every confiding moment with Chloe, was a lie. The wedding day arrived, an oppressive weight in the summer air. I found myself sitting in the back row of the church, a morbid curiosity overriding my grief. Chloe, radiant in white, walked down the aisle. Mark, looking impossibly handsome, watched her with an intensity that made my heart clench. Just as the officiant began the vows, a woman, sleek and impeccably dressed, rose from the congregation. Her voice, clear and cold, cut through the reverent silence. I object. Gasps rippled through the pews. Mark and Chloe looked stunned. The woman walked to the front, her gaze fixed on Mark. Mark, you know perfectly well you can't marry this woman. You're still married to me. A collective gasp swept through the church. Mark's face went ashen. Chloe looked utterly bewildered. What is she talking about, Mark? She whispered, her voice laced with fear. The woman, who introduced herself as Eleanor, produced a marriage certificate. We were married in Vegas 3 years ago. You said you'd file the annulment papers, but clearly, you never did. The church erupted in chaos. Chloe burst into tears, accusations tumbling from her lips. Mark stammered, tried to explain, but his words were drowned out by the escalating clamor. I slipped out of the church, a strange mix of vindication and pity swirling within me. My heart still ached, but the clarity of the situation was a bitter balm. Mark wasn't just a cheater, he was a serial deceiver. Weeks later, the dust began to settle. The annulment was confirmed. Chloe, humiliated and heartbroken, moved to a different city. Mark, his reputation in tatters, vanished from our social circle. I was slowly rebuilding my life, the scars of the betrayal still fresh, but now tinged with a new understanding. I realized that Mark had always been drawn to a certain kind of innocence, a brightness he perceived in others, but lacked in himself. He had seen it in me, then in Chloe. One day, I received an anonymous email. It contained a single attachment, a grainy photo of Mark, years ago, arm in arm with a woman who looked strikingly similar to Eleanor. Beneath the photo, a short message. He's done this before. Be glad you escaped. The final twist came from an unexpected source. Chloe called me, her voice tentative, broken. Alex, she began. I know you hate me, and you have every right to. But I need to tell you something, Mark. He told me you were already seeing someone else, that you had broken up with him weeks before he came to me. My blood ran cold. He had orchestrated the entire scenario, painting me as the villain, making Chloe feel like she wasn't stealing him, but simply finding love with a man who was already free. He told me he was just waiting for the right moment to tell you. Chloe continued, her voice raw. He said you were afraid of commitment, that you were pushing him away. The sheer audacity of his lies left me speechless. He hadn't just betrayed me and Chloe, he had manipulated us both, weaving a tangled web of deceit to serve his own selfish ends. The relief of knowing Chloe wasn't as malicious as I believed was immense, but it was overshadowed by the chilling realization of Mark's true nature. He wasn't just a man who left me for my best friend. He was a master manipulator, a chameleon who changed his colors to suit his twisted narratives, and in the end, escaping him was the greatest twist of all. What do you think was Mark's ultimate motivation for all the deception?